Three, two, one.
Hello everybody and welcome to Tonight in STEM. I'm your host, Juan. This is the show where I interview professionals in the field of, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we have our next episode. Today I have someone who is an industrial engineer. Actually was born in Guadalajara, Mexico. Attended Cal Poly SLO, San Luis Obispo. Works at Lufft and is Director of Business Development. Abraham Aguilar, how are you doing today?
Hey Juan, good to see you again.
We've been having almost a good weekend. It's Friday here while we're recording this.
We're almost there towards the last stretches.
Anything special planned?
Just relaxing. It's been a really pretty stressful week, and next week I'm going to be traveling to Denver, so a lot of things planned for the weekend in regards to just relaxing.
Oh, awesome. That's a part of the job, right?
Exactly.
So I have Abraham Aguilar, who is a Director of Business Development for Lufft. It's a little different episode today. Usually I have engineers who got an engineering major and start their career in the engineering field and continue to do it. But this is different. As you can see, Abraham Aguilar is Director of Business Development, which is not so technical, but we'll get his reasoning of why he chose to be Director of Business Development, what he does, and if he still kind of uses engineering. But I guess the first question for Abraham is, and I guess I asked everybody this, how did you get into STEM?
Well, be honest with you, I was really, really young. I decided to go into the engineering realm of what engineering was all about. So I probably was in elementary school. My school had a career day, and there was a mechanical engineer that went to do a visit as a career development. And he started to explain to us about his job and what he did, building machines and building equipment. And one thing that really stuck in my mind was when he said, yeah, in the future there might be, think of the Coca-Cola machine, the dispensing machine. One day you'll call out to the factory telling it that it's going to be out of stock, so there might be someone that could go and refill it. Or even then, imagine itself unplugging itself and going out and going to the factory and refilling itself. And that just blew my mind. I was like, wow, I want to be a part of that future.
Wow.
And that's that's how I got involved in STEM.
How old were you when this presentation came up?
I was like probably 12, 13.
Wow, well, as a 12, 13-year-old, you definitely really like soda, right?
Yeah, it was actually a Pepsi machine, I just realized. I apologize. So I'm kind of doing both, right? I'm doing the Pepsi and the Coke. So they don't get mad at me.
That is the question, Pepsi or Coke, right? So that's how you started. Okay, so I know you attended Cal Poly and chose industrial engineer. How did you know you want to be an industrial engineer? Was that right away out of high school, or
no?
Why industrial engineering?
Yeah, right out of high school, I knew I wanted to go into industrial engineering because at Cal Poly they make you decide your major before you apply.
I know many schools kind of do that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the reason why I decided to go into industrial engineering and go to Cal Poly. But the reason why I picked industrial engineering was because before that, I actually looked into different types of engineering roles. I looked into electrical engineering, I looked into mechanical, computer engineering. I actually took some coursework prior to going to college in computer science to understand if that was something of interest. I figured that programming, I enjoyed it, but it really wasn't something that I really want to do for my career.
Breaking my heart. I'm a soft developer, so you're breaking my heart.
No, I commend you guys for being able to do that. It's mad props to all the computer engineers, computer scientists out there. But yeah, it was something that really wasn't for me. I wanted to do something that involved both people and business and engineering, and that's kind of the reason why I decided to go into industrial. The reason I found industrial was because I got a career book. It was a local library that I just went and did some research. And I found the career book, and it showed the different types of careers in engineering, different types of careers in the world. And I saw that there was a title called sales engineer. And I was like, interesting, okay, so I get to do sales, I get to do engineering. how can I go ahead and do this? Well, one of the recommended careers, one of the recommended majors was to do industrial engineering. It was business, industrial engineering, economics. But I figured I like an engineering aspect. Why not? So that's why I decided to apply for Cal Poly, and it was actually between Cal Poly Pomona or Cal Poly San Luis Obispo.
Oh, okay. Both
And I flipped the coin, believe it or not. I wasn't
Really?
sure which one I was going to go with. Back then, it was, my family didn't really know too much about the polys. They just knew it was a college to go to.
Correct.
I was going to be able to get financial aid, which is essential for me
Both
to
universities, I imagine.
Exactly. So I got lucky, and I picked Cal Poly SLO. It was a great experience, and I'm glad it turned out heads instead of tails.
Can't believe you flipped a coin for that. Where am I gonna spend the next 4 to 5 years?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Flip the
see,
coin.
the thing with Pomona is that it was close to LA. I figured, I'll expand my network out there. It's close to industry.
Uh-huh.
I'll be able to maybe do more internships than I would do in San Luis Obispo. But San Luis Obispo's network is so large and it's so well known that it wasn't even an issue once I landed there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of explained what industrial engineering is. Do you think industrial engineering is for everybody, or what kind of characteristics do you kind of need, or what kind of passion do you need to go into industrial engineering?
Well, I think it could be for everybody. It does take a certain type of mentality. I would say there's a lot of people in the industrial engineering world that go into the area branch of operations, and it's a great role to be in. You get to produce things, you get to manage things, you get to do a lot of project analysis and time studies and things like that. There's another world of industrial engineering where there's like the supply chain aspect of it, and so you're looking at still in operations, but you're looking more into the holistic world of how things get produced as well as manufactured and delivered to the end customer. So there's different realms within the industrial engineering world, similar to the other engineers out there. In mechanical, you go into a segment of mechanical engineering, or in electrical, you can go into the commercial power generation, things like that. Having that industrial engineering degree, though, allows you to be more versed in regards to the business world, because we do take psychology courses, we do take business courses, and marketing courses that allow us to be a little bit more flexible, not only just in the technical aspect, but we're also flexible in the business aspect. So as to your question, as far as what type of personality or what type of person can actually do it, it's someone that is willing to stretch their limits, someone that is open to not really having set constraints, that knows different constraints, but it can arrange themselves and adapt to the different scenarios that come forward, because that's pretty much what business is. There's a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different markets that you really have to be flexible for and be able to adjust. So that's kind of the type of personality that really, that's what I've seen, at least with my peers and people who did industrial engineering.
So it seems like you kind of prepared yourself very early on. You kind of knew what you wanted to do. Did you do any internships? Did you join any clubs while you were at Cal Poly? How involved were you? Would you kind of define that as getting yourself prepared? Because I know a lot of students, and I've talked to a lot of students where their whole mindset is stuck on just graduating, and they don't think about what's happening next, because their main kind of goal is, okay, I just want to graduate. I want to go through this 4, 5, 6 years and graduate, but they don't think beyond. They don't kind of prepare themselves for that. Were you kind of that individual? Did you look on beyond graduating?
It's a great point, great question, because I don't think if it was for my network and the people that I actually met at Cal Poly, I would be where I'm standing now. The reason why I was able to get into sales engineering from graduating, after graduating, was because of my network. So let me go back and explain to you as to my undergrad degree and how I did it. So, the focus was to finish, and for me, it took me 5 years. I actually studied abroad, so that really helped expand my horizons as well. So that undergrad experience and being involved in the various chapters or various clubs that were available at Cal Poly allowed me to really expand my network, because networking, like in any, may it be in business, may it be in your social life, is gonna enrich your life, and that's what I've really gained out of the Cal Poly social networking experience that I had. So I was a part of the SHEP organization, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, where the last year I was actually vice president for first vice president, responsible for corporate initiatives and bringing corporations into the organization to do presentations.
Awesome. Yeah, we hear about SHIP a lot here.
SHEP is a really great organization. It really helps minorities really expand and be prepared to go into the marketplace that we have now. I was also a part of the IIE, Institute of Industrial Engineers, and I try to get involved into as many chapters and many clubs as possible. Was really involved also, had a lot of friends with the flamenco or the folklorico.
Oh, okay.
Yep, as well. So I still have a lot of good friends there. And
you're a good dancer?
No, not really. I did it for a quarter. My knees weren't able to hold up to the stresses of dance. But no, they're great people, and that allowed me to really expand and kind of see that, especially at Cal Poly, because there's not that many minorities. I was able to go into all the different minority clubs as well as general clubs, and get to know a lot of people. And that knowledge base of meeting different people allowed me to be also flexible in my understanding of the world, and just seeing different perspectives. So having that type of experience in professional chapters or social chapters, it was just really enlightening across. I have a lot of friends who are part of fraternities and sororities, and they themselves think that being a part of organizations allows you to not necessarily just be more engaged in the school, but also allows you to expand in that network after school is over, and continue those and foster those relationships to have a better way of living, I'd say, overall.
That's very interesting. So out of Cal Poly, you graduated in 2006. Am I dating you? I don't know. You graduated in 2006.
It's totally fine. Age
is
okay.
just a number, right?
So people still tell me that I sort of have a baby face, so it's okay. I guess when I age, it's going to be okay.
Well, let's people judge. I'm not going to judge. So, did you go into Lufft right away after you graduated, or how was that?
Yeah, actually, after I graduated in industrial engineering. Initially, I was trying to get away from the stigma of, oh, you want to go into sales, so you want to be a used car salesman. So I had shied away from that aspect, and I decided to go into supply chain operations. And I kind of focused my efforts when I got my internships. The internship that I got was at Target on distribution. I worked over in Bakersfield at their distribution center over in Shafter, California. And I did that for about 3 months, one of my summers. And I really thought I was going to really enjoy that type of career. Once I graduated, I went to work for a software company called Intuit, where I did logistics analyst, and I was a manufacturing product manager as well. Within the 2.5 years I was at Intuit. Within Intuit, I realized that the corporate life is nice, but it really wasn't my thing. I thought that usually in corporate it takes a little bit of time to get things moving. It takes a little bit of time to kind of see a lot of the initiatives that you're trying to install, or a lot of the initiatives that you could see the organization working better. It takes a little bit of politics and a lot of shared vision and presentations and PowerPoint presentations and cost analysis and a lot of things that big organizations really need, because it takes sometimes a little bit of time to just move the big boat. So after 2.5 years, I realized that the cube life was not for me, and that's kind of going back to the networking. I was out in San Francisco. I was just hanging out at a local bar, and I see an old schoolmate of mine who from Cal Poly, and I was like, his name was Will, And I said, "Hey, Will, what are you up to?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, a long time no see." And it was about 2.5 years since we last talked. And he told me that he was doing sales engineering. And I was just like, I was already looking for an exit strategy. And I was trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my career, because that corporate life wasn't really fulfilling me.
Right.
And yeah, he was telling me about his career as a sales engineer, and I was like, "Tell me about it." So so that Monday, I take him out to lunch. We talk in depth as to what he's doing. I tell him, like, that's exactly what I want to do. Where even though you have the title of sales, you're not really doing the typical used car salesman pitch. It's more consultative sales. You're providing a solution to an engineer in most cases, or a project manager, or someone that is looking for your type of product. So you become an expert in the product, and that's why people call you, because you are the expert or the guru for that industry or for that product line. And I said, yeah, that's what I really want to do. That same day for lunch, he took me over to meet his boss. I have an interview on Wednesday, and then by that following Sunday, I actually had a job offer. So
wow, that quick.
it was quick. It was quick. Yeah, I got the opportunity to go down and live in San Diego, which is a really cool place to live at.
Definitely.
And got to learn all about sales engineering, customer service, in a different world and different environment than what I was exposed to right out of college. And that allowed me to really understand markets, understand development roles, understand what we need, or what customers potentially need. It's not just the selling of a component or a product, it's selling a solution.
Right.
And that's where that's kind of how I got my sales gig, quote unquote, or sales into the market.
So,
yeah,
that kind of is also very technical. Also, 'cause you have to analyze. You're solving a problem, like all
Correct.
engineering. There's a problem, and you need to come up with a solution. And as a sales engineer, you have to understand it, and see how your products can solve that solution, or what components, or how you can actually make them not have that problem anymore, which is interesting.
correct. And being a sales engineer, you're doing a lot of the integration work. You're doing a lot of the in a way the grunt work that the engineer would have to do. A lot of times when you're in the industry, what I see a lot with the engineers is that they're so overwhelmed with so many different projects or so many different things that they don't have the time to really sit down and do the analysis of what components will work with what. A sales engineer's role, it would be that. Would you be coming in with a solution, presenting that solution, and having that understanding of what it is that the customer, or in this case an engineer or one of your customers, is looking to solve, in the solution, what it really entails. Of course, looking at cost and making it profitable for both the company you're working for,
Correct.
as well as for the person that's going to be buying it at a reasonable cost. So that kind of ties into the engineering aspect of it. Having that engineering background allowed me to look at concepts and look at different technologies and not be afraid of them. Understanding how to do voltage calculations, how to do analysis of stresses. These are things that I would use every single time in my or every single day in my career as a sales engineer. Now transitioning in to what I'm doing now at Lufft, and doing the director of business and development role, I am a little bit more involved in the marketing aspect now, in the technical support and the sales. But every day I get to solve problems. I am looking for okay, what are my constraints? What are the weaknesses in the system that we can either make better? And I'm using the same concepts that I learned as an undergrad on a daily basis. Just because I don't have the day in day out analysis task of crunching numbers, I'm still using a lot of the concepts that I learned as an undergrad to be able to solve problems.
So, I actually want to dive a little deeper into that, because how do you make certain decisions about business, like where to go, or where holes might be? Where do you grab this data? Like, because I imagine a lot of this is data driven, right?
Correct. A lot of it is data driven. Some of it is also psychological. You kind of have to understand where the psyche of the market is, and that's just kind of being involved in the market space, talking to people, understanding where the market could be driven to. That's just it's like the stock market. You're kind of playing the stock market.
Okay.
You kind of have to look at the different numbers, but then you also have to see, okay, do I trust this company? Where is this company going to, is it going to be something that's going to be moving forward? Is this something that maybe I should hold off on buying? And that's kind of how the market is as overall when we approach different market segments. Within Lufft, we're responsible for the wind sector. We're responsible for the solar sector, meteorological, building automation, Mesonet, which is a new concept in the market space where you're creating networks of weather stations to provide a microclimate information for forecasting. So things like that are things that are going to be moving the needle forward, and we kind of have to be the front runners or the forerunners before it hits mainstream. Another concept or another product that we just launched is a product that's called Marwis. It's a mobile road weather sensor. Innovative technology where it's second to none. This is something that you would be mounting on your vehicle, and it would be providing you real-time data as to what it is that the road surface is actually at, what's a friction coefficient, and be able to get that information to a central system to either provide information to spray more salt for the salt sprayers, or for individual people that are driving along the road to maybe slow down or to prevent accidents, just as a warning system.
So I know you're going into Lufft, but for the people that don't know what Lufft is, so maybe we should back up and okay, what is Lufft? Maybe people haven't heard about it. I know I keep hearing sensors, I keep hearing weather. I imagine that's a major component, but can you explain what Lufft is, and then we'll dive into that.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for reeling me back in. Yeah,
hey, I can tell you're very excited.
And that's a big point. You have to really be passionate about what you do. And I've been fortunate that every career I've had the opportunity to be really passionate in what I do. I really believe in the type of products that I'm either promoting or I'm solving. So as far as Lufft, I've had the opportunity to join this company back in February. They are a weather sensor manufacturer. Primarily, they are focused on providing weather components or weather instrumentation for the industry that is looking to weather critical applications. So like I mentioned, wind turbines, solar farms, road traffic, companies like Earth Networks, companies like Schneider Electric, all rely on information from our sensor products. So our sensor suites are really well versed in that we have products that can give you everything from precipitation, temperature, humidity, pressure, wind speed, wind direction, all in one unit. And if you'd like, I could show you a little bit more about it. If you go into that website and type in WS700, I'll tell you a little bit more as to what it is that this product actually does. So if you scroll over on the actual picture, scroll to the top right there. Scroll to the very top, and then we'll scroll. Okay. Yeah. So the very top right there actually has a solar radiation sensor, and the dome is a Doppler radar. So that information, that information right there is going to tell you information as far as lighting within the area. So if you're doing building automation, this would be ideal, because now with one unique device, you're able to get everything that you need. So now you're getting solar radiation, precipitation information. That little cup thing that you see there, if it keeps going down, there's little sections. There's like 4 emitter receivers. Keeps going down, right there, up. Right there. So that is the ultrasonic wind sensor. So that gives you wind speed and wind direction, and that is a non-moving part. So what that allows you to do is that no moving parts means zero maintenance. You don't have to worry about going out and doing recalibrations or having to take the sensor down because a component broke. Now, if you look at the accordion piece section, now there's 3 sensors in this one. There's a temperature, a humidity, and a pressure sensor, all embedded. This is a digital sensor. Long are the days where we had analog sensors. This is all a digital environment, so we are providing digital communication. So we communicate via a protocol called UMB, which is our proprietary protocol, but we could also do SDI-12, which is widely known in meteorological applications. For SDI-12 is kind of the status quo for that type of industry. And then we also do Modbus communication. Modbus is status quo for like the industrial world, and we're always open for new protocols, and we're just trying to be innovative as we can before the competition gets a hold of it.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So it's all in one sensor. Can you talk about like maybe a specific use? Where would you use this? Because when I think weather sensor, I just think, okay, seeing the weather report. But I imagine there's specific industries, right, that use this. Can you maybe name one and give an example how they would use it?
Yeah, no problem. So if you think of weather critical applications, an example would be a wind turbine. We have a all metal housing anemometer, and that would be installed on top of the nozzle of the wind turbine to be able to detect the wind speed and the wind direction to align the turbine to where the wind is coming from, or in situations if the wind is too high, be able to turn off the turbine and prevent any damages from of the turbine from occurring. So that Ventus, that all-in-one metal housing, if you click on that first link, that's going to show you the Ventus anemometer. And the cool thing about this Ventus is that it's meant for extreme environments, extreme conditions. We actually have this one mounted on top of Whistler Mountain, and this is actually used for avalanche prevention. So by understanding where the winds were during a storm, they're able to send different teams or task teams to that area to do avalanche prevention or avalanche control. And that's just another application where the Ventus would actually be used. Now for the WS700, the one I explained to you earlier, that's used a lot in the semi product line. We're expecting to be able to use that in like building automation or applications where people need to understand what the type of solar environment is, maybe in a solar farm, or they're looking to understand the precipitation intensity. So it could also be used in traffic applications. Understanding the wind speed, wind direction, temperature, humidity, and pressure is just the additional add-ons for a lot of the requirements in solar farm applications. So there's a lot of regulations out there that are requiring the measurement of meteorological data, and having our type of sensor allows them to get all in one simple device, easy to integrate into their platforms, and makes it really simple for people to get that information that they need to be able to do sign-offs on projects, or to be able to meet a certain requirement that's government regulated.
So currently there is a lot of hype over IoT, Internet of Things. So correct me if I'm wrong, I imagine Lufft as the Internet of Things, but for like enterprise industry. Could that kind of be it? So this is kind of prime time for you guys, right?
You're right on. I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed. Actually, we already have a product out there that would be considered the Internet of Things. If you want to go into our website and type in iBox, it's just similar to the iPhone. We're not saying we mimicked it, but imitation is the best form of flattery. So we're going to the iBox. Yep, exactly. Serial gateway, and there's going to be a screen. Yep, click on that one.
And there's guys, this was not planned. This was
yeah.
This is a sales engineer kind of.
Scroll down. Actually, this is like one of my sales calls. If you scroll down, there's multiple pictures. Actually, usually right next one over, one more picture over, right there. Click on that.
Let's see.
Yep. So Internet of Things, and this is a perfect scenario. So the idea is that we have all our sensor packages. We have sensors not necessarily just for the outdoors, but we also have sensors for indoors, which is the Opus 20. So if you want to measure like CO2 environments, if you want to measure that for like say the classroom, it's something that we're working on, but we've realized that if the level of CO2 increases in the classroom, then the amount of people kind of dozing off also increases.
Really?
So yeah, believe it or not, so we're working on that. Yeah, and so that would be a way to, hey, alarm out to either the teacher, or maybe open up the window, or hey, it's time for a break. So it's just somewhere in the classroom, maybe we can actually sell it to Cal Poly or to your alma mater as an option.
Hey, now I have an excuse why I'm dozing in class. We're at work.
Hey, there you go. When you go, think of it as well. Like if all the doors are closed and there's maybe like 10 people in the room, There's a CO2 that's occurring,
Breathing
and
oxygen and
oxygen is being not being replaced. So you got to make sure that you at least open up the windows to alert, or to just get more alert, because oxygen is needed in the room. So by having that opus, we'll be able to say, hey, the CO2 level has reached its max point that you set. So alarm, alarm, alarm. That's an option. But then, as you saw on that screen, the iBox would be your gateway for the Internet of Things. And right as of right now, the way we have it set up. So you could communicate to a system, maybe an IBM software, maybe an Oracle MySQL database, API developers, JavaScript, all the different things, to be able to get our weather sensor information into those platforms and make it a true Internet of Things. Like you said, we're the forerunners. We're starting to get into that capability where before the advent of the internet, we didn't have that type of technology. Now we're in the phase where the sky's the limit. We can actually do multiple things. The only thing that's limiting us is our imagination.
yeah, that's awesome. Like and talking about Internet of Things, I have Hue lights, which are light, and I have a sensor with that. I have the Belkin remote, which is just triggering any appliance. I have, what else? I have so many sensors around my house that now I guess I need Lufft, right?
You would be the ideal candidate for us for building automation. Honestly, if this is
it's
something of
fascinating 'cause
interest.
it's like a fantasy. So everyone who's probably gone to Disneyland has gone to like Imagineering, that attraction, and like they do play out roles where you walk into, let's say, a room, the AC turns on, goes to a specific temperature that's comfortable to you, the light turns on, the blinds open. We have this fantasy of that happening, and with us not doing anything, just being there. So this is interesting. Sensors is very very popular right now, Internet of Things, and definitely Lufft is up there now.
Thank you. Yeah, and the aspect for us, like you said, the sensors are just a tool. The business intelligence is where the rubber hits the road. The sensor technology that we're providing is allowing you to be able to get that information and make the building more efficient, make the area more able to be lived on, or more comfortable at. So having the sensors mounted, like say in the rooftop, incorporated into like a Nest thermostat, will then allow you to give you that microclimate information and provide you a better living environment.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's an option.
Yeah. Awesome. So I guess I'm starting to ask this to all my guests. Where do you see yourself in, let's say, 5-10 years?
I see myself at Lufft still. Honestly, I see there's a lot of room, a lot of opportunity within the market. There's a lot of room for growth. It's a really innovative company. I'm not sure what the job title will be, but I could definitely see.
Yeah, if you're loving what you're doing, it's like that really doesn't matter, right?
Exactly. I enjoy it. It's one of those things that if you like the company that you work for, you like what you're doing. I enjoy being able to contribute to the world in that, yeah, I am a weather sensor manufacturer, but the applications that we're supporting are things that are renewable energy, things that are protecting the environment, or at least analyzing the environment to do analysis and be able to either do more regulation on certain things or less regulation on certain things, depending on what is it that you're studying. Allows me to wake up in the morning and be happy and have a smile on my face to go to work.
That's awesome. So maybe the last thing I want to touch is I know you travel a lot. What does that entail? How, I guess it's kind of silly, but why do you travel?
I travel to different sites. Like in this case, I'm going to be going to Denver to this coming week because we're going to be doing a commissioning of a system called the Salometer, which measures snow heights, different cloud layer heights. So this is a commissioning job that we're going to be going to UCAR and MCAR to be doing the commissioning of it. And the reason I'm traveling is because we're going to be installing this system. It's going to be a new system that we're starting to showcase in the United States. So it's going to be our first installation. So that traveling is going to be both commissioning as well as training. Another reason for traveling in business development role is to establish a relationship with customers, establish that communication. It's the geek talk now. I'm gonna share that. It's that having the eyeball to eyeball, or the sales talk, having the eyeball to eyeball communication is second to none. Even though we have technology nowadays where we can do Skype calls, we can do go to meetings and different things, it's totally different when you're having a business conversation, and it's in person.
It's all about that firm handshake, right?
It's that firm handshake. May it be old school, may it not be. We're still social animals. We still have to have that understanding and just really seeing the other person in person.
And actually, that's a kind of a good transition into, because a lot of people ask me why do Tonight in STEM in video, and it's kind of exactly that. That wasn't the main purpose, but it's also about seeing the expression, how people express themselves, because you can tell a lot just by that. And
Correct.
that kind of goes exactly what you're kind of saying.
Yeah. And so the reason for the traveling is because I love to travel. No, but it's enjoyable for me, so that allows me to also enjoy my job. And it's something that a lot of people sometimes they don't really appreciate. So that's another reason why some people, I think that I'm going to have good job security, because some people don't really enjoy the traveling aspect of it.
Right.
But but no, as far as the type of experiences, I also, when I go visit customers, I get to learn a little bit more about what they do and what they go through, and what their hardships are. And that is something that will allow us to even be more innovative and be more receptive to the marketplace. Maybe this company or maybe a future company that I may be working for.
So, Abraham, thank you for being on. Thank you for your time. I know you're busy traveling. I know you had a busy week. But again, just really want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to take a little time and talk to us and kind of share what it is to be an industrial engineer, a little about your childhood, how you got into it, and again, just thank you.
Thank you, Juan. I really appreciate you doing this type of show. I think it's really beneficial for the up-and-coming engineers, all you boys and girls out there that are reading or seeing this. I hope that it's beneficial and influential for you. We need more minds into the STEM world, and so please don't shy away from the math courses, because at the end of the day, it's not that bad.
Definitely. So we're gonna wrap it up with our tip trick of the week. Hack of the week. I still have to find an official name for that. But with that said, I'm going to try and put that over to Abraham, and he's going to share a little hack for you guys. Abraham?
Yeah, I appreciate the hack of the week. I like that better than the trick of the week. That's just me. So my world revolves around a lot of planning and a lot of making sure that I am constantly up to date with what's going on in the marketplace, understanding what we're currently at, where we're facing in regards to figures, numbers, sales, opportunities, and there's a lot of things to store up in this little head of mine. So my hack of the week is how do I manage all that? So what I use is a new, well, I don't know if it's new, it's kind of been around for a while now.
It's been out for a while, yeah.
Yep, it's Evernote, and this application is web app. It's pretty much an app that you could download on your phone, or you could put it on your PC. And the whole focus is, the idea is that you would have the concept of mind like water, in that you could pretty much download everything that you have in your head into this app. Maybe tasks to do, tasks that you need to get done, completed, maybe meetings that you have to attend or prepare for, everything in regards to calendar updates and things like that. So my idea is that I put everything in here, and wherever I'm at, may it be at having dinner, I remember something, I put it in my app. Maybe I'm in front of a meeting and I'm typing away, and then I remember something, I'll put it in this Evernote, and then I could go back and reference it as my hack of life, in a way, to be able to not have everything stored in my mind and go crazy, because there's a lot of things that happen on a daily basis. So that is my hack of the week, or hack of life, whatever you call it.
Hey, thank you, Abraham. And yeah, it's interesting because with this new generation, we have all these social networks, all this media, all this information coming at us full speed. Sometimes, it doesn't fit up there, and we need to write it down. So that's perfect.
Great.
So I guess my hack of life, like Abraham says it, is more of an idea, way of kind of organizing your life, organizing your friends, maybe relationships. So early on, when I was at City College, at high school you have a lot of high school friends. Some may have a positive influence, some have a negative, and it's hard to kind of organize that. And you're transitioning into from high school to college to kind of the professional, getting a job, starting an adult life. So I actually attended a camp over the weekend. It was called Emmaus, and there I was taught basically to kind of put in. And let me see if I can show you guys. I'm more visual, but basically make 4 lists. On the left hand side, you can see you make your positive list. You make a positive list, negative list, and negative list. But in this list, you put all your relationships, everybody you've met, you interact with, and see how they're influencing you, how they're kind of having a effect in your life. Is it positive, negative, or negative? And at the point in time when I was, this actually really helped me. This kind of let me concentrate, let me kind of propel myself forward, because I knew, okay, these are the people in the positive list I can count on, that I can hang out with, and I would benefit from them. The negative, not so much. So I remember that, and I remember very vividly that kind of advice, and that list really helped me. And it kind of gives you a little different view on how you see relationships. Because coming out of high school, you want to have as many friends kind of as you can, but hey, how are they influencing? Is it positive, negative, or negative? So Abraham, have you heard about this?
No, it's my first time, but I was just thinking if I go through that list with Facebook, it's going to take me a long time.
Oh, hey, you brought it up. You brought up that question. All those 5,000 friends you have, right?
It's going to take a while.
And it's true. It's true. How are they affecting you? Because if you actually really think about it, you probably go through Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat every single night, and you might not notice, but yeah, they are having somewhat of an influence on you. So that's very interesting. I like that, Abraham.
No, I like that concept. I didn't see that before. So,
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So I want to thank everybody for listening, and I guess Abraham again for your time, but everybody else for their time, for listening to. Hopefully you got something out of this episode in Tonight in STEM. Definitely follow us we have a YouTube channel, Tonight in STEM, I think it's show, Facebook and Instagram also. And then, yeah, there is actually a new website up, so go check it out, tonightinstem.com. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Juan.
All right, recording.